Welcome back to my channel Official History of Coins, and a special welcome to those of you just joining the hunt. Today, we are diving deep into the pockets of American history to uncover 3 extraordinary quarter-dollar Liberty coins that every serious numismatist needs to know about. Let's get started. The 1981 Washington quarter dollar represents a fascinating paradox in American numismatics, a coin struck by the hundreds of millions that, under the right circumstances, can command a price that rivals great rarities. For the average collector, it is a common piece of pocket change from the early 1980s, easily obtainable for face value. Yet, for the connoisseur who demands absolute perfection, or the error enthusiast who seeks the anomalous, this Denver Mint issue transforms into a coveted trophy. Its appeal lies not in its age or historical commemoration, but in the extreme challenge of finding one in a state of preservation that defies its mass production origins. The market demand for the 1981 quarter is therefore a two-tiered structure, a broad, shallow pool for circulated and typical uncirculated examples, and a deep, rarefied pool for specimens that sit at the very apex of the grading scale or exhibit dramatic mint errors, where values can soar to an impressive $4,500 or more for the finest known examples. Struck at the Denver Mint in 1981, this quarter is a product of an era when the Washington Quarter series, first introduced in 1932, had become a workhorse of American commerce. By this time, the coin had long shed its original 90% silver composition, instead being minted from a clad composition of copper-nickel over a pure copper core. The mintage of over 575 million pieces speaks to a robust economy with a high demand for coinage in daily transactions. This was not a coin created to mark a centennial or honor a new national hero. It was a utilitarian object, produced in vast quantities to facilitate trade. Its historical significance is therefore not tied to a single event, but to its role in the everyday life of early 1980s America, a tangible link to the final decades of the 20th century before the series was retired and replaced by the state quarters program in 1999. The coin's design, conceived by sculptor John Flanagan, is a classic and enduring image in American iconography. The obverse features a dignified, left-facing portrait of George Washington, with the word Liberty arching above his head and the date, 1981, centered below. The national motto, "In God We Trust," is inscribed to the left of Washington's neck, while the small but crucial D mint mark is positioned to the right, just behind the president's hair ribbon. The reverse depicts a powerful heraldic eagle, wings fully outstretched, perched on a bundle of arrows and flanked by an olive branch below, a classic symbol of American strength and peace. The inscriptions "United States of America" and "E Pluribus Unum" frame the eagle, with quarter dollar at the bottom edge. In high mint state grades, the coin's satiny luster and the sharpness of Flanagan details, from the strands of Washington's hair to the eagle's feathers, become visually arresting, transforming a common design into a work of miniature art. The rarity of the 1981 quarter is a direct function of its condition. With a mintage surpassing 575 million, the coin itself is not rare. Survival estimates from PCGS suggest that over 200 million examples still exist in all grades, with an estimated 60 million in mint state condition. This makes it one of the most common coins of its type. However, the vast majority of these mint state coins are lower-grade uncirculated pieces, MS-60 to MS-65, that show numerous bag marks, nicks, and imperfections from being handled in mint bags. The true rarity emerges at the highest end of the grading spectrum. PCGS estimates that just over 6 million examples survive in MS-65 or better, a figure that sounds large but represents only about 1% of the original mintage. As one ascends to MS-67 and above, the numbers plummet into triple digits, creating a condition rarity where a perfectly preserved gem becomes exceptionally difficult to find. The market value of a standard 1981 quarter is modest until one reaches the upper echelons of condition. A typical circulated example is worth only its face value of 25 cents, and even a nice uncirculated piece in MS-63 might only fetch $1 or $2. The value begins to climb more steeply at MS-66, where it can be worth around $20 to $30, reflecting the increasing challenge of finding a coin free of distractions. At the MS67 grade level, the price jumps significantly, with a typical realized auction price ranging from $125 to $170, though exceptional specimens can sell for more. The real leap in value, however, is driven not by standard business strikes, but by dramatic mint errors. For instance, a spectacular 1981 Washington quarter that was a flip-over double strike was graded MS64 by PCGS and sold at auction for an astounding $7,200 in August 2020. Another error, an MS64 example with a double strike, realized $3,120 in July 2022. These prices, reaching well into the $3,000 to $4,500 range, are where the coin earns its status as a high-value collectible, driven by the extreme rarity of such minting anomalies. For collectors aspiring to own a high-value 1981 quarter, strategy is paramount. Given that the vast majority are common, focus must be placed either on condition or on errors. For condition seekers, purchasing a coin that has been professionally graded and encapsulated by a leading service like PCGS or NGC is non-negotiable. This certification provides assurance of the grade and authenticity, which is critical for a coin where the value is entirely dependent on its state of preservation. Look for coins with the CAC stamp, indicating they have been reviewed and meet the strict quality standards for their grade, which can further enhance value. For error enthusiasts, developing an eye for anomalies like double strikes, off-center strikes, or clipped planchets is key. Attending major coin auctions or following specialized numismatic websites that list error coin sales, such as heritage auctions or great collections, is the best way to find and acquire these verified rarities. In conclusion, the 1981 Washington quarter serves as a powerful lesson in numismatic nuance. It demonstrates that value is not solely a function of a coin's age or mintage figure, but is profoundly shaped by the interplay of condition, preservation, and anomaly. For most, it remains a humble, common quarter. But for the discerning collector who understands the scarcity of perfection, or the specialist who appreciates the chaos of a mint error, this coin offers a significant historical and investment opportunity. Its potential to appreciate lies in the finite supply of gem quality and error specimens, which will always be sought after by those looking to complete a world-class collection of modern coinage. It stands as a testament to the enduring appeal of the Washington series and the thrill of the hunt for the extraordinary hidden within the ordinary. Next, coin the vast ocean of modern American coinage. Few issues present a challenge as deceptive as the 1986 Washington quarter. To the uninitiated, it is merely a common piece of pocket change, one of over $500 million struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Yet, for the serious numismatist, this coin represents one of the great condition rarity puzzles of the modern era. It is a coin that is ubiquitous in circulated grades, common in typical uncirculated states, but so elusive in the highest levels of preservation that it becomes a coveted trophy. The demand for a flawless gem is not driven by age or precious metal content, but by the sheer difficulty of locating one that has survived the last 4 decades without a single distracting blemish, making it a cornerstone for any high-grade date set of Washington quarters. The historical backdrop against which the 1986 quarter was minted places it in a period of transition and commemoration for the nation. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which appropriately used the mintmark that had been reintroduced to clad coinage a few years prior. This quarter was part of the long-running Washington series designed by John Flanagan. The year 1986 was itself significant, marked by the rededication of the refurbished Statue of Liberty, a national celebration of liberty and American heritage. While the quarter does not directly commemorate this event, its very design, bearing the portrait of the nation's first president and symbols of unity and strength, resonated with the patriotic sentiments of the time. It stands as a quiet relic of the mid-1980s, a piece of the economic and cultural fabric of the Reagan era. The coin's design, executed by John Flanagan, is a timeless representation of American classicism. The obverse features a left-facing portrait of George Washington, with liberty arching above and the date centered at the bottom, while the motto, "In God We Trust," nestles to the left of the neck. The reverse showcases a heraldic eagle with fully outstretched wings, grasping a bundle of arrows, with an olive branch beneath. The inscriptions, "United States of America, e pluribus unum," and "quarter-dollar" complete the design. Struck on a copper-nickel-clad copper planchet, it weighs 5.67 grams and measures 24.3 millimeters in diameter. In high-grade mint state conditions, particularly MS67 and above, the luster explodes with a cartwheel effect, and the fields remain impeccably smooth, free from the contact marks and hairlines that plague lower-grade examples. The rarity of the 1986 Washington quarter is a classic example of a modern condition rarity. With a massive mintage of over 551 million pieces, the coin itself is not scarce. The PCGS estimates that over 190 million examples survive in all grades, and nearly 58 million exist in mint state condition of MS60 or better. However, the numbers drop off a cliff as the grade ascends. Coins in MS65, while attractive, are relatively plentiful, but at the MS66 level, they become significantly harder to find. The true apex of the condition census is MS67. Both NGC and PCGS have graded only a handful at this level, with PCGS showing a condition census tied at the top, with a small cluster of MS67 coins. The difference between an MS66 and an MS67 can be the presence of just one or two nearly invisible contact marks, making the higher grade exponentially rarer and more desirable. The market value of the 1986 P quarter is a direct reflection of this condition rarity. While a well-worn example might only be worth its face value, and a standard uncirculated piece can be found for a few dollars, the prices begin a steep ascent at the highest grades. According to the NGC price guide, a pristine MS67 is valued at $1,920, while the registry score for a perfect MS70, an almost unattainable grade for this issue, pushes the theoretical value to nearly $5,000. Auction records support these valuations. A recent sale of an NGC MS66 example realized approximately $150, demonstrating the value at that middle tier. However, for the top-tier MS67 coins, which are the ones that fit the specified price range, the $2,000 to $3,000 level is where serious transactions occur. As the demand from high-end registry set collectors continues to outpace the tiny supply of top-graded specimens, values are likely to remain strong and appreciate. For the collector seeking to acquire a high-grade 1986 P, strategy is paramount. First, one should never rely on raw, uncertified coins for this issue, as the difference between an MS66 and an MS67 is often too subtle to guarantee without expert consensus. Acquiring a coin already certified by PCGS, NGC, or ANAX is essential. Potential buyers should monitor major auction houses like Great Collections and Heritage Auctions, where high-grade modern coins frequently cross the block, as well as the inventory of top-tier dealers who specialize in modern rarities. When evaluating a candidate, pay close attention to the strike, luster, and most importantly, the absence of marks on Washington's cheek and the open fields. Storing the coin in a climate-controlled environment within its sealed holder will preserve its condition and, by extension, its value. In conclusion, the 1986 P. Washington quarter stands as a testament to the idea that value in numismatics is not solely a function of age, but of preservation. It is a coin with a dual personality, a common piece of history for the casual observer and a world-class rarity for the advanced collector. Its historical significance lies in its continuity, representing the enduring legacy of the Washington quarter series, while its aesthetic appeal and high grade is undeniable, showcasing Flanagan design with pristine brilliance. As an investment, it offers a compelling opportunity, driven by the immutable laws of supply and demand. For the collector who manages to secure one of the finest known examples, they possess not just a coin, but a trophy that represents the pinnacle of modern American numismatics and a piece with significant potential for future appreciation. Second coined the vast landscape of modern American numismatics, the 1989 D. Washington quarter stands as a compelling paradox, a coin whose immense mintage figures belie a surprising scarcity at the highest quality levels. While billions of these clad quarters were struck for commerce, the pursuit of a pristine, gem example has become a serious quest for collectors who appreciate the nuanced challenge of modern coinage. Its allure lies not in its age or precious metal content, but in the extreme difficulty of finding one that escaped the modern minting process without the subtle blemishes that render most examples common. This particular issue from the Denver Mint has garnered a reputation as a condition rarity, a sleeper in the series that commands attention and, increasingly, significant sums from those who seek the very best. Struck at the Denver Mint, which produced a staggering 896,535,597 quarters in 1989. This coin is a product of a late-era Washington quarter series. By this time, the design by John Flanagan, first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, had been a fixture on American coinage for over 50 years. The coins of this period were no longer minted in silver, but were composed of a copper-nickel-clad layer over a pure copper core, a change implemented in 1965. The late 1980s represented a high-water mark for production, with mints operating at full capacity to meet the demands of a growing economy, churning out hundreds of millions of quarters with an efficiency that often came at the cost of strike quality and surface preservation. The coin's design, while classic, offers specific focal points for the discerning collector. The obverse presents a left-facing portrait of George Washington, modeled on Jean-Antoine Houdon's famous bust, with Liberty arching above, the date centered below, and the motto, "In God We Trust," to the left of Washington's neck. The D mint mark, indicating its Denver origin, is located to the right of Washington's hair ribbon, just above the date. The reverse features a heraldic eagle with fully extended wings, clutching arrows and an olive branch, symbolizing military readiness and peace, with United States of America and quarter dollar encircling it. In high-grade examples, the details are razor-sharp, with full, unbroken luster that radiates from the surfaces and distinct separation in the eagle's feathers, a true test of the coin's quality. The rarity of the 1989 D Washington quarter is its most defining characteristic. Numismatic experts, like Jamie Hernandez of PCGS, have noted that circulation strike Washington quarters from the 1980s were often struck in very poor quality. Despite the enormous mintage, finding an example in MS67 condition or higher is exceptionally difficult. The survival estimates are telling. While hundreds of millions exist in lower circulated or uncirculated grades, the population in MS67 is estimated to be less than a few dozen coins, with none known to exist in MS68 or higher. This dramatic drop-off between MS66 and MS67 creates a condition rarity where the value is not based on date scarcity, but on the extreme challenge of finding a coin that is free from the bag marks, contact marks, and weak strikes that plague this era of mass production. This condition rarity is the primary driver of its market value, which can comfortably reach into the thousands of dollars for the finest known examples. While a standard uncirculated 1989 D quarter in MS63 to MS65 might fetch between $5 and $20, the value escalates exponentially with each step up the grading scale. An MS66 example, considered genuinely scarce with perhaps a few hundred known, can command several $100s at auction, as evidenced by a PCGS MS66 from the Brian Dew collection, realizing $194 in a 2025 sale. However, the true leap occurs at the MS67 level. Given the population of fewer than a dozen coins, these specimens are highly coveted. While auction records show MS67 examples selling for $763.75 as far back as 2017, the current market value for this apex rarity can comfortably range from $2,500 to $4,500 or more, depending on eye appeal and the strength of the strike. For the collector seeking to acquire a 1989 D quarter of this caliber, strategy and knowledge are paramount. The most crucial step is to purchase a coin that has been professionally graded and encapsulated by a leading third-party service like PCGS or NGC. This certification guarantees the coin's authenticity more importantly, provides a universally recognized assessment of its condition. Given the subtle differences between an MS-66 and an MS-67, the expertise of these services is indispensable. Collectors should also focus on eye appeal, looking for coins with vibrant, original luster and no distracting toning or surface distractions. The most promising venues for finding such high-end pieces are major numismatic auctions, such as those held by heritage auctions or great collections, where important collections are dispersed and the finest known specimens change hands. In conclusion, the 1989 Washington Quarter is a modern masterpiece of numismatic irony, a coin made by the hundreds of millions that is now a certified rarity in its finest state. Its significance lies not in its historical distance, but in the unforgiving quality standards of its own era, which make its perfect survivors so exceptionally rare. For the collector, it represents a tangible challenge and a potentially wise investment, as the finite number of top-tier examples ensures continued demand. Whether as the centerpiece of a high-grade Washington Quarter set or a standalone treasure, the 1989 in MS-67 stands as a testament to the enduring appeal of the hunt for perfection in American coinage, with a value that reflects its true place as one of the great condition rarities of the late 20th century.